Erev Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi, Masechet Shabbat. We are up to Perek Yutet, Mishnah Hey. Today's Mishnah should be Leilu Nishmat, Neria ben Tzvetlana, Aranbayev, and Eliyahu ben Burcha Israelov, Menuchatam began Eden. Amen. This Mishnah teaches that there are times when it is impossible to perform a circumcision on the 8th day, or even for several days afterwards. The Mishnah begins, Katan nimo lishmona litisha v'la'asara u'l'chadasar v'l'shnemasar. A child is sometimes circumcised on the 8th day, sometimes on the 9th day, sometimes on the 10th day, sometimes on the 11th day, and sometimes on the 12th day. Lo pachot v'lo yoter, not earlier and not later, meaning depending on when he was born. The earliest day for circumcising a child can fall in any of these days, but never before and never after. And the commentators explain the earliest day for circumcising a child is never later than the 12th day. When necessary, a circumcision can be held even after the 12th day, such as when a child is, God forbid, sick, or when there is no one available to perform the circumcision. However, it may never be held before the 8th day under any circumstance. HaKetzad, the Mishnah says, how so? Kidako lishmona. In normal circumstances, he is circumcised on the 8th day. Nola leben hashmashot nimo letisha. If he was born during twilight, the period between sunset and nightfall, when we are unsure if it's still daytime or if the night has already begun, he is circumcised on the 9th day. So for instance, if he was born during twilight on Sunday evening, we are unsure whether he was born on Sunday or Monday. He may not be circumcised on the following Sunday, since he might then be only 7 days old. Instead, he is circumcised on the following day, which is Monday, when in fact he was born on Sunday. He would actually be 9 days old, meaning if he was in fact born while it was still daytime on Sunday, the circumcision would take place on Monday, which is his 9th day. Again, just to simplify it, for example, he was born on the twilight of Sunday evening, he would be circumcised the following Monday. Ben hashmashot shel erev Shabbat nimo la'asara. If he was born during twilight on Friday night, he is circumcised on Sunday, which may be the 10th day, meaning he may not be circumcised the following Friday, since he might then be only 7 days old, and he may not be circumcised the following day, which is Shabbat, since he might then be 9 days old, and a child who is older than 8 days may not be circumcised on Shabbat. Therefore, he is circumcised on Sunday, when he might in fact be 10 days old. Yom Tov la'achar Shabbat nimo la'achadasar. If he was born during twilight on Friday and Yom Tov falls on the day after Shabbat, meaning Sunday, he is circumcised on Monday, which may be the 11th day, because he may not be circumcised on Sunday, because a child who is older than 8 days old may not be circumcised on Yom Tov. Just as a delayed circumcision may not be performed on Shabbat, it may not be performed on the first day of Yom Tov as well. Therefore, he is circumcised on Monday, when he might in fact be 11 days old. If he was born during twilight on Erev Shabbat, and the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah are on a Sunday and Monday, he is circumcised on Tuesday, which may be the 12th day, since he may not be circumcised on either day of Rosh Hashanah. Now, the commentaries point out that in the times of the Mishnah, when the court decided the calendar based on the testimony of witnesses who had seen the new moon, it was possible for Rosh Hashanah to fall on Sunday. Today, however, when our calendar follows a fixed cycle, Rosh Hashanah never falls on Sunday. But again, in the case of the Mishnah, he would be circumcised on Tuesday, which may be the 12th day, because in this regards, Rosh Hashanah is treated differently than other holidays that are kept for 2 days outside of Eretz Yisrael. The 2 days of Rosh Hashanah are treated as one long day, which is why a child who is more than 8 days old may not be circumcised on either day. On other holidays, however, the commentaries discuss that the Rav explains. The commentaries bring down, the article elucidated in the note 5 brings down that on other holidays, however, the second day is treated more leniently than the first, and it's permitted to circumcise a child even if he is older than 8 days. That's why the Mishnah discusses a case where Rosh Hashanah falls on 2 days following Shabbat, because if any other holiday falls on those days, the child would be circumcised on the second day of Yom Tov, the 11th day, not the 12th. Again, I'm just reading to you the note brought down, elucidated for practical halacha. You must look at Shulchan Aruch, Yorodea, chapter 266, halacha 8, and discuss with your local Orthodox rabbi. The Mishnah continues now, a case in which a circumcision is delayed even longer. Katana chole en mo'alin oto ad she'avri. a sick child is not circumcised until he becomes healthy and remains so for 7 full days, as the Rav says, which is 168 hours, to be sure that the circumcision will not endanger him. Again, the Rav says he must be healthy for a full 168 hours, and this applies when the child has an illness that affects his entire body, even if he's not dangerously ill. However, if his illness affects only one of his limbs, the Ran says he is circumcised as soon as he recovers. And that is the end of Mishnah 5. Mishnah 6 now is the conclusion of chapter 19. It concludes with some general laws about circumcision. The Mishnah first teaches how much of the foreskin must be removed for a circumcision to be valid. Eluhen tzitzin hamakvin et hamilah. These are the shreds of foreskin, which are small pieces that are made from a foreskin that was not completely removed, that prevent circumcision from being valid. Basar hachofeh et rov ha'tara, flesh of the foreskin that covers the majority of the corona, meaning the raised portion of the membrane. And the commentators explain there are 2 ways in which the foreskin is considered to cover a majority of the corona. If a piece of the foreskin remains around most of the corona's circumference, the circumcision is invalid. In addition, if a piece of the foreskin, no matter how thin, covers more than half the distance between the edge of the raised area and the tip of the member, the circumcision is also invalid. As long as these shreds remain, the circumcision is invalid. The child is still considered uncircumcised. Once all such shreds have been removed, the circumcision is valid even if smaller shreds remain. And the commentators explain this law is also relevant to a circumcision that takes place on Shabbat. If the circumciser, the Moed, leaves shreds that cover the majority of the corona, he must go back and remove them because the circumcision is not valid. If only smaller shreds remain, he may not go back and remove them since the mitzvah has already been fulfilled. However, as long as he is still engaged in the circumcision and he has not taken his hands away, he may cut off even the smallest shreds, as the Rav explains. The Mishnah continues, and therefore, if a Kohen was circumcised, but such shreds remain, we said the covers the majority of the corona, he may not eat tirumah until they are removed, because an uncircumcised Kohen may not eat tirumah. Now, even when the foreskin is completely removed, other flesh may need to be cut away. V'imaya bal basar, if a child was plump, meaning even after the foreskin is removed, the flesh above the corona droops and covers the area of the circumcision, making the child appear uncircumcised. Mitakeno mipnei marita ayin, he should fix it by cutting away the excess flesh because of marita ayin, the improper appearance, meaning because the child will appear to be uncircumcised. Now the Mishnah concludes really, following the removal of the foreskin, priya, uncovering, is performed, which involves tearing the thin membrane that covers the corona and peeling it back, exposing the area of the circumcision. The Mishnah teaches the law for this procedure. Mal velo para tamila, if he circumcised but did not uncover the circumcision by peeling back the membrane, kilu lo mal, it's as if he did not circumcise at all. Therefore, if he was circumcising on Shabbat and did not uncover the corona, he must return to it even if he had already taken his hands away. And that is the Nabotai of today's Mishna Yomi. Everybody should have a Erev Shabbat Shalom. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen v'amen.